What's one story from high school that not many people will believe? In high school, I was a self-proclaimed slacker who barely put in any effort. I skipped reading assignments, cheated on tests, and refused to do tasks I thought weren't worth my time. Most of my teachers knew I was lazy, and a few likely suspected my occasional cheating. My best friend, Josu, was no different. He was just as unmotivated as I was. In our Spanish 1 class, we had fun nicknames. Mine was Tomas, and his was Josu. This class was the last period of the day, and our teacher, Mrs. Reyes, would often let us leave early if we finished our work. One recurring assignment was making vocabulary flashcards, one side with the Spanish word and the other with its English translation. It was an easy task, but I never bothered to do it because the grade wasn't worth my time. Mrs. Reyes graded the flashcards by walking down the aisles and glancing at each student's stack. One day, toward the end of class, she told us we could leave early once she checked our cards. To my surprise, Josu had actually done his flashcards for once. When Mrs. Reyes reached him, she checked his cards and moved on. As soon as her back was turned, Josu passed me his cards since I didn't have any. When Mrs. Reyes got to me, she asked, "Tomas, do you have your vocabulary cards?" Expecting me to say no. Instead, I confidently replied, "Yes, ma'am," and flashed Josu's cards at her. She immediately looked suspicious, turning back to Josu. She asked him to show his cards again. Caught off guard, Josu froze, and his face said it all. We were in trouble. Just as I was bracing myself for the worst, Jaime, a classmate who was clueless about the situation, walked up to Mrs. Reyes to have his cards checked so he could leave early. This distraction gave Josu just enough time to grab his cards back from me. When Mrs. Reyes turned around again, Josu had his cards, and she turned her attention back to me. "Tomas, where are your cards now?" she asked, panicking. I blurted out, "I threw them away." She looked baffled and said, "Go get them from the trash, please." I walked to the trash can, scrambling for an excuse because I knew I had nothing to show. But then, to my shock, there was a neat stack of completed vocabulary cards for the exact chapter sitting right on top of the trash. I couldn't believe my luck. I grabbed them and showed them to her. She seemed genuinely surprised and even apologized for doubting me. Later, I found out those cards belonged to Jaime. He had thrown them away right before leaving class, completely unaware that I needed them. What were the odds? Looking back, it's wild how everything fell into place. My bad habits and cheating almost got me caught, but a bizarre twist of fate saved me. To this day, I can't believe how lucky I got.